After Tehran agreed to allow UN nuclear inspectors back into the country. The move follows talks in Switzerland, with both sides saying groundwork has been laid for a broader agreement on Iran's nuclear program and regional security. We'll get you all the details on that on the show.
A massive explosion at a gas facility in Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial zone has killed 13 people. 12 of them were Indians and injured 66 others. Authorities say that the blast was caused by a technical accident and has not affected the country's gas exports or domestic energy supplies. There's more on this story. We'll bring you the latest. Let's start with the headlines first.
Iran claims it will administer the Strait of Hormuz in accordance with international law, returning after talks with the United States. Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagheri Khalifah, says the strait will never return to its pre-war conditions.
US President Donald Trump says Iran will agree to have weapons inspections to ensure nuclear honesty long into the future. But Iran pushes back against claims, saying their engagement with UN nuclear watchdog would be under existing obligations.
If Iran doesn't live up to their agreement, or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do.
U.S. President Donald Trump says things are working out very well with Iran right now, but reiterates that all options remain on the table if Iran does not comply with the agreement.
At least 12 Indian nationals were killed, several others were injured in an explosion and fire at Qatar's massive Ras Laffan LNG complex, largest in the world. Qatar says 13 people were killed, 66 others injured in the blast that happened due to a technical accident.
Russian authorities say at least 5 people were killed after Ukrainian missiles struck the city of Voronezh. Kiev says its forces had carried out a successful strike on a plant making key components for Iskander and other missiles.
Two children found dead in a car in France as much as Europe sweltered through record high temperatures, and national authorities launched urgent measures to reduce the impact.
Now, these 3 people were killed in a shooting in Canada's Montreal, a police officer, a civilian, and the alleged gunman. Police yet to comment on the motive or whether the incident was a hate crime or an act of terror.
Indian authorities launched probe into a devastating fire that killed 15 people and injured several others in Lucknow. The investigation will focus on alleged violations in the construction and use of the property.
SpaceX shares fell for a 3rd straight day after the company said last week that it's selling investment-grade bonds for the first time. The stock fell 16% on Monday, shedding over $600 billion in market value.
France beat Iraq 3-0 in their group eye clash in Philadelphia after the game got delayed by 2 hours at halftime due to the threat of thunderstorms. The two-time world champions have qualified for the knockouts on the back of Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele.
The U.S. President Donald Trump has said that things are working out very well with Iran right now.
He also reiterates that all options remain on the table if Iran does not comply with the agreement. Listen to this.
If Iran doesn't live up to their agreement, or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do.
Does that give them leverage over you, Mr. President?
Say it?
Does that give them leverage, the Iranians leverage over you?
Oh, you're so leverage.
The United States has suspended sanctions on Iranian oil as Trump has cleared that Iran will agree to have weapon inspections to ensure nuclear honesty long into the future, echoing comments made by his Vice President J.D. Vance.
This is probably what we're most excited about as Americans. The Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country. That is a major milestone for the American people and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
Well, Iran was quick to respond to this, with its foreign ministry saying that Tehran had made no new commitments on nuclear inspections. Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai maintained that any engagement with UN inspectors would take place under existing procedures set by Parliament and the Supreme National Security Council. While leaving Switzerland, when asked about the negotiations, Vance, the US Vice President, said that Iranian officials can be confusing sometimes. He, however, struck an optimistic tone, saying that the talks had laid a good foundation for a final peace deal.
This is laying a foundation for what could be a truly transformed Middle East. But we haven't built the house yet. We're going to have to keep on building, and that's what we'll do.
Tehran and Washington signed a memorandum of understanding last week. It laid the groundwork for Switzerland negotiations after nearly 40 days of fighting that were followed by a shaky ceasefire.
Mediators Pakistan and Qatar said that the US and Iranian negotiators reached an agreement on a roadmap towards reaching a final deal within 60 days, after the first round of talks on Sunday, with technical talks to continue for the rest of the week at the Swiss resort.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, meanwhile, is due to start a trip to the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Bahrain. His spokesperson said it is to discuss the deal and efforts to secure full and free safe transit through the Strait of Hormuz.
Now, Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf, their parliament speaker, has said that the strait will never return to its pre-war conditions and will be administered by the Islamic Republic in accordance with the international law. Tracking data on Monday showed vessels were still transiting the strait, despite Iran saying on Saturday that it had closed the Strait of Hormuz again over Israeli attacks in Lebanon.
In the weeks and days before the U.S.-Iran talks, the war in Lebanon between Israel and Iran's close ally Hezbollah threatened to derail the ceasefire, though the country has been relatively calm since Saturday evening.
Ghalibaf, while speaking to reporters, said that talks will only be successful if Lebanon's territorial integrity is secured. Now, the remarks come as Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has declared that Israeli forces have been granted full freedom of action to thwart any direct or developing threat to them or the residents in Israel to the north. And there's more on this from our U.S. correspondent Susan Teherani, who sends us this report from New York.
President Trump says that Iran is prepared to allow major UN inspection of its nuclear facilities, a key demand of the United States as negotiations move into a new phase. But Tehran is disputing that claim, saying that no commitment has been made regarding inspections or otherwise. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance talks of progress being made after nearly 9 hours of talks in Switzerland. stressing that any sanctions relief or release of frozen Iranian funds will ultimately depend on continued Iranian compliance. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is planning to travel to the Gulf region to consult with U.S. partners and build support for this ongoing diplomatic effort. So the focus now shifts to technical negotiations and inspections, sanctions relief, as well as verification, with the administration hoping to turn this temporary agreement into a broader agreement in the weeks and possibly months ahead. Susan Tahwani reporting from New York for WION World as well.
A major explosion at Qatar's main liquefied natural gas processing facility has claimed the lives of 13 people, while 66 people were injured.
And there were 12 Indian nationals among the people who died in the mishap.
The explosion occurred late on Sunday night in Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial zone, with witnesses reporting a loud boom along with a plume of smoke rising from the area. Qatar Energy Minister says what happened at Ras Laffan was an accident and not an aggression or sabotage. He says 13 people were killed, 66 others injured. The minister also says that the investigation into the cause of the accident has begun. He also adds that it has not affected the export capabilities and stated that the resumption of operations at the affected factory is difficult to determine for now. The blast reportedly resulted in an explosion and fire at Barzan local gas supply facility. The ministry had cleared that there's no leak posing a threat to public safety. The Indian embassy in Doha, in a statement, confirmed that 12 Indian nationals died in the mishap.
The Indian embassy in Doha posted a statement on X, mentioned that the Qatari authorities have confirmed the death of 12 Indian nationals in the unfortunate incident. The embassy expressed deepest condolences and also assured that they are working in close contact with the Qatari authorities to extend all possible help to the Indian nationals.
The facility had already been badly damaged in the recent war between US, Israel and Iran. Iranian attacks during the war targeted Gulf energy infrastructure, including Ras Laffan, forcing Qatar to halt gas production. Now, this industrial city, Ras Laffan, is about 50 miles north of Doha, the capital. It is also home to the world's largest LNG export complex, producing about 1/5 of global supply. While Qatar is one of the world's leading LNG producers alongside the US, Australia and Russia, the country's energy minister, Saad Al-Kabi, said in the month of March that Iranian attacks have knocked out 17% of Qatar's LNG export capacity, causing an estimated $20 billion in lost annual revenue and even threatening supplies to Europe and Asia.
Colombia has elected a new president who styles himself as a political outsider.
Now, reportedly campaigns like a strongman and also he campaigns as a strongman and enjoys the support of US President Donald Trump. Nationalist lawyer Abelardo de la Espriella, known to his followers as the Tiger, reportedly built his rise on promises of law and order. He blamed outgoing President Gustavo Petro for Colombia's economic and security troubles and vowed to crush drug traffickers, confront illegal armed groups, and revive a struggling economy. His message of tough security measures and market-friendly reforms reportedly resonated with voters seeking change.
I will govern for all Colombians, for those who voted for me and for those who chose another candidate. There will be no winners or losers. There will be no reprisals, no persecution, because in a democracy, there are no irreconcilable enemies.
The president-elect shares a close bond with Donald Trump, with the U.S. president even endorsing him during the campaign, describing him as a leader who would crack down on crime and restore law and order. After the election result, Trump wrote a simple message on his Truth Social account: he won big.
Now, the president-elect's victory is expected to usher in a warmer phase in US-Colombia ties. And this is after years of friction between Trump and Petro. But the president-elect is more than a politician.
He is a high-profile attorney and businessman whose interests stretch across wine, rum, clothing, and real estate. An investigative report, however, found that several of his businesses were dissolved, burdened with debt, or suffered losses in 2024, while his law firm remained his most profitable venture.
The president-elect has reportedly cultivated a larger-than-life image. He frequently appeared on the campaign trail giving a military salute. Despite never serving in the armed forces, he is often seen wearing luxury watches, designer sunglasses, and sporting a groomed beard, reinforcing his strongman persona.
The president-elect has also attracted controversy. He has reportedly represented figures linked to corruption scandals, right-wing paramilitaries, as well as a Venezuelan businessman who faces money laundering charges in the United States linked to ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. A married father of four, a singer of traditional folk music, and a citizen of Colombia, Italy, and the United States.
Well, the leader will assume office on the 7th of August as Colombia's new right-wing president and perhaps one of Donald Trump's closest political allies in Latin America. Moving over to the UK now, Keir Starmer has finally bowed to intense pressure to stand down as the British Prime Minister.
And Starmer announced a timetable for his departure after months of growing discontent among the Labour lawmakers and cabinet ministers. The newly elected MP for Makerfield, Andy Burnham, is all but certain to succeed him, potentially making him Britain's 7th Prime Minister in a decade. Burnham is likely to be crowned Labour leader without having to face a contest after West Reading confirmed he would not challenge him for the top job.
Well, Starmer's announcement also invited a reaction from US President Donald Trump, who said that Starmer was not Churchill, criticizing him for failing to support the United States in its conflict with Iran.
So I said to Pete, let's see if they'd actually come. So we asked them to come, and they weren't there for us. So we it's stupid that they weren't. By the way, Starmer wasn't there. And you know what? The people of the UK did not like it that he wasn't there. Starmer said no. Starmer said worse than no. He said, we'll be there as soon as you win. I said, we don't need you as soon as we win. Before I went in, we called him. He said, oh, wow, we'll be there. This was not Winston Churchill we're dealing with, that I can tell you.
Now, Trump claimed that Starmer had really hurt himself over energy, immigration, and his handling of relations with Washington. Trump called Starmer a lovely man for accusing Starmer of mishandling Britain's energy policy by failing to exploit North Sea oil and allowing windmills all over the place.
And I told him he's a very nice man. I mean, sort of a friend of mine. I mean, he was not good to us with NATO, Pete, right? He said we can't use the island to land. That was the first. For a couple of weeks, he said, well, but ultimately I gave it to you now. That was a bad move. That hurt him badly. But I mean, I wish him well, but he's got two problems: energy and immigration and crime. But energy and immigration.
Mr. President,
and he's, you know, he's really hurt himself very, very badly.
And the entire Europe is under a heat trap. The increase in temperature is having a significant impact on vulnerable groups, especially children.
In southeastern France, 2 children, aged 2 and 4, they were discovered unconscious in the family car parked outside their residence. First responders were unable to resuscitate them. The causes of death are yet to be determined, but authorities say the heat is the leading line of inquiry. In total, at least 18 people have died in France as a heat wave hung over the country, smashing temperature records in several cities. The deaths follow those of 3 elderly people aged between 80 and 95 who died near Bordeaux over the weekend. And this was again as a result of health problems caused by extreme temperatures.
Temperatures are expected to rise further. French authorities have already placed half the country on a level 1 danger to life warning, urging 35 million people to exercise absolute vigilance, avoid exertion, and stay out of direct sun. National Weather Service said temperatures throughout western and central France were likely to exceed 40 degrees Celsius, hitting 43 degrees Celsius in Bordeaux. 41 degrees Celsius in Limoges, and 39 degrees Celsius in Paris, and would continue rising until the end of the week.
It's been really, really hot. I wasn't expecting it to be so bad, especially on the metro and stuff. The windows are so small, and I just try to drink as much water as possible, but even now I went to the shop, there's like no water in the shops. It's all like really hot.
3 people killed in a shooting incident at a hotel in Canada's Montreal. The rare daylight attack, which has sent shockwaves throughout the city, claimed the lives of a police officer as well.
It also includes a civilian and a suspected gunman, and the incident unfolded on Monday in a Jewish neighborhood of Montreal, which housed kosher markets and restaurants. And police say the gunman, who was dressed in military-style clothing, opened fire from inside a building with a long gun, killing a police officer. The police then returned the fire, killing the gunman. According to reports, a civilian also died in the shooting, but it wasn't immediately clear who fired that shot. Well, police say a second officer was also seriously injured in the shooting, but is in a stable condition.
11:35 a.m. from 6939 Decarie Boulevard at the Hilton Hotel after a civilian saw a gun barrel poking out from a window and heard gunshots. Responding officers came under fire and a street firefight ensued. The suspect, who was neutralized, has died, along with a civilian and a police officer. A policewoman, who was in a critical condition, is now stable and her life is no longer in danger.
Montreal residents expressed shock, saying they had never witnessed an incident of this scale before. Some cautioned that it was too early to determine whether the attack targeted the Jewish community.
People are asking me if it's an attack on the Jewish community. I think it would just be completely irresponsible to even speak to that at this point, because we know that it was an attack right now on the police.
No, it's not normal. All my life that I've been here, I've been going everywhere, any time of the day, nights, when I was before years. But now I got fear because I have never seen anything like this.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said he was horrified by the Montreal shooting, offering condolences to the victims and their families. Quebec Premier Christine Frechette requested flags in the province to fly at half-staff.
To everyone, the tragic events that unfolded today have deeply shaken the people of Montreal and, more broadly, all Quebecers. And I'm personally deeply shocked and saddened by what has occurred. On behalf of the government of Quebec and on my own behalf, I would first like to extend my most sincere condolences to the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives doing their duty.
Well, this is a debate that has always ensued. It's how Gen Z and the millennials have a different approach to life altogether.
And now, in an astonishing study by the Resolution Foundation, it has been revealed that Gen Z workers are earning more at the age of 24 than any of the millennial counterparts. And study has unraveled that Gen Z workers born in the late 1990s are earning more at the age 24 than any other cohort since those born in the 1950s. The research shows that these young professionals are witnessing a midi rebound in their pay packets, unlike their millennial counterparts who faced economic challenges such as the financial crisis in 2008 when entering the job market.
Now, the Resolution Foundation, though, warns that Gen Z's pay rebound could be jeopardized by rising prices and slower economic growth due to geopolitical tensions in the Middle East.
Now, visitors at Jerusalem's Biblical Zoo are for a delight.
Well, the zoo hosts capybaras, which have gained internet stardom. What adds to the appeal is that 4 capybara pups born in this zoo have been named after the Beatles. Let's take a look at these visuals.
They are amongst the cutest pups that most people and even they caretakers here are really enthusiastic with these pups, and the visitors that manage to see them are in euphoria.
And it's time for a very quick short break on World DNA. We'll be coming back with more news and updates from across the world. And before we go, here's a look at the images that have been drawing attention from across the world.
In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is One. Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Jyotsna. I'm Shivan. Let's start with the headlines at this hour.
Iran claims it will administer the Strait of Hormuz in accordance with international law, returning after talks with the United States. Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, says the strait will never return to its pre-war conditions.
US President Donald Trump says Iran will agree to have weapons inspections to ensure nuclear honesty long into the future. But Iran pushes back against such claims, saying their engagement with the UN nuclear watchdog would be under existing obligations.
If Iran doesn't live up to their agreement, or if they're not behaving, I will do what I have to do.
U.S. President Donald Trump says things are working out very well with Iran right now, but reiterates that all options remain on the table if Iran does not comply with the agreement.
At least 12 Indian nationals were killed, several others injured in an explosion and fire at Qatar's massive Ras Laffan LNG complex. Qatar says 13 people died, 66 injured in the blast that happened due to a technical accident.
Russian authorities say at least 5 people were killed after Ukrainian missiles struck the city of Voronezh. Kiev says its forces had carried out successful strike on a plant making key components for Iskander and other missiles.
Two children found dead in a car in France as much of Europe swelters through record high temperatures, and national authorities have launched urgent measures to reduce the impact.
And authorities launched probe into devastating fire that killed 15 people and injured several others in Lucknow. The investigation will focus on alleged violations in the construction and use of the property.
US gasoline prices have fallen for a 6th consecutive week, driven by lower crude oil costs and steady fuel supplies. The decline is providing relief to consumers and could help ease inflation pressures as the peak summer driving season gets underway.
France beat Iraq 3-0 in Philadelphia after the game got delayed by 2 hours at halftime due to the threat of thunderstorms. The two-time world champions have qualified for the knockouts on the back of Kylian Mbappe and Ousmane Dembélé. In a key diplomatic engagement, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on the sidelines of the BRICS National Security Advisors meeting in New Delhi.
And according to the Ministry of External Affairs, both sides reviewed recent developments in bilateral relations and acknowledged progress towards the gradual normalization of ties between India and China. NSA Doval emphasized that stable, predictable and constructive relations between the two countries are essential for building trust and fostering greater understanding. The ministry described the talks as constructive and forward-looking.
Present at the meeting from the Indian side were Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Ambassador Vikram Doraiswamy, and Chief of Defence Staff Designate Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai.
Relations between India and China have been undergoing a gradual thaw following years of tensions that emerged after the 2020 border standoff. Since 2024, both countries have intensified diplomatic engagements aimed at restoring stability and confidence. The meeting builds upon previous engagements between the two sides. Wang Yi had visited India last year for the 24th meeting of the special representatives, where both countries reaffirmed the importance of maintaining peace and tranquility along the border areas.
Both nations have reiterated that India and China are development partners rather than rivals, and that differences should not be allowed to escalate into disputes. The MEA says cooperation between India and China, representing 2.8 billion people, is vital for growth, development, and shaping a multipolar Asia.
At least 15 people have been killed. Several others have been injured after a fire broke out at an animation coaching center in Lucknow.
And local police have sealed the building and registered an FIR against the accused.
Complete bedlam after the fire broke out. Visuals that you see on your screen show people jumping from windows of the building's first floor in Lucknow's Aliganj to save their lives.
Fire brigade teams, police personnel, and district administration officials rushed to the spot and launched rescue and evacuation efforts. The blaze reportedly erupted inside the institute building and spread rapidly, trapping people inside.
According to the preliminary reports, the coaching center's entrance was secured with a digital lock that required a thumb impression to open. However, when the fire broke out, the thumb impression scanner stopped working, which prevented the doors from opening. Following this, firefighters broke through the wall and entered the building.
Meanwhile, Lucknow police have filed an FIR against 6 people and other responsible individuals. They also said 3 people have been arrested in connection with the case.
Furthermore, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has taken immediate cognizance of the fire incident and had earlier instructed authorities to accelerate the rescue operations.
The Chief Minister has ordered the formation of a 2-member special investigation team, SIT, to conduct an impartial probe. The SIT has been tasked with submitting a detailed report to Chief Minister Yogi within 7 days.
Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister Brajesh Pathak became emotional while speaking to the media as he recounted the scenes he witnessed.
Furthermore, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met the injured at the King George's Medical University in Lucknow. The Defence Minister also visited the site of the devastating fire and expressed grief over the loss of lives. Lucknow is also the constituency of Defence Minister Singh.
Following this, Prime Minister Modi took to social media and expressed his anguish over the incident. The Prime Minister also announced ex gratia of Rupees 2 lakhs to the next of kin of each deceased, 50,000 rupees to the injured.
Similarly, President Draupadi Murmu has expressed her heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. She also called for the horrific fire accident in Lucknow as extremely heartbreaking. And a growing wave of dissent is challenging Pakistan on multiple fronts.
In Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, mass protests are underway since the last 2 weeks. At the same time, in Balochistan, a court has sentenced prominent rights activist Mehrang Baloch to life imprisonment. Now, for the past 11 days, more than 70,000 people have maintained a mass sit-in in Rawala Court, turning it into the epicenter of a movement against Pakistani control. The protests have seen significant participation of women and children.
School children as young as 10 gathered in a public square chanting slogans for freedom. Children held placards reading Pakistani forces out, we want basic rights. And hundreds of women marched through the streets calling for independence and accusing the Pakistani state of political and economic oppression.
जो इनके कहने पे फोर्सेस लगा के जो इन्हें सामने रख के हमें जो है वो डराना धमकाना चाहते हैं हम उनसे कहना चाहते हैं.
Well, the movement is being led by the Awami Action Committee, which has issued a June 23rd deadline for the Pakistani government to accept a 38-point charter of demands. Otherwise, organizers have vowed to march from Rawala Court to Muzaffarabad. Meanwhile, hundreds of kilometers away in Balochistan, a court ruling is raising questions on the space for political dissent in Pakistan. Dr. Mehrang Baloch, one of the country's most prominent rights activists, has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Court has held her guilty for inciting a mob that killed a Pakistan army soldier during a protest in 2024.
Mehrang Baloch has gained international recognition in recent years. She is the organizer of Baloch Yakjati Committee, a human rights group. Mehrang has long campaigned against oppression of the Baloch ethnic group by the Pakistani state. Her demonstrations highlighted forced disappearances of Baloch activists. She has featured in the BBC 100 Women and Times 100 Next list. She was nominated for the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize.
The legal team representing Mehrang Baloch has rejected the court's ruling and vowed to challenge the decision in higher courts.
Now, China's appetite for a tropical fruit is now at the center of a bitter geopolitical battle.
China's growing demand for Taiwan's custard apple, locally known as atemoya, is sparking fears in Taipei. Taiwan's agriculture ministry is warning its farmers not to become overly reliant on the mainland market. The concern stems from China's move back in 2021. Beijing had suspended imports of Taiwanese pineapples, wax apples and custard apples, citing pest and quarantine concerns. Back then, Taipei rejected those claims and even accused Beijing of using trade as a political weapon.
Well, now with Chinese buyers once again showing strong interest in Taiwan's premium fruit, officials fear history could repeat itself. They worry that farmers may expand production to meet Chinese demand, only to be hit by a sudden ban if political tensions escalate.
Now, the strategy is familiar. First, create dependence, then turn trade into leverage. Taiwan's government is urging producers to diversify export destinations and reduce their exposure to the Chinese market.
For many farmers, the choice is tough. China offers a huge customer base and higher profits, but the risk of another politically charged import ban looms large. As the cross-strait tensions continue to rise, even a simple custard apple is no longer just a fruit. It's become another flashpoint in the growing economic tug-of-war between China and Taiwan.
And new details are now coming out in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of U.S. presenter Savannah Guthrie.
Now, reporters say that a ransom note sent days after the abduction claimed that she had died. The note was one of two addressed to her family and sent to media in the days after her January kidnapping.
Well, the first demanded millions in Bitcoin for her release, but the second stated that she had died. According to NBC News, the second note did not contain any apology or request for payment. for the release of her body. The existence of the note was known, but the content, specifically that it said Guthrie had died, had not been previously disclosed.
Guthrie, the mother of the Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, was reported missing from her home in Arizona on 1st of February. 10 days after she was reported missing, the FBI recovered chilling doorbell camera images of an armed and masked man outside her home on the morning of her disappearance. The FBI has since described that man as a suspect.
After the second note was sent, Savannah Guthrie addressed her mother's possible kidnapping in an Instagram video, saying that the family would pay for her return. The 20-second video did not provide specifics about the message she referenced.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
Savannah Guthrie stepped away from NBC's Today Show for more than 2 months while the investigation was underway. She returned to the program in early April as the search continued.
SpaceX listed on NASDAQ on the 12th of June, raising $86 billion for the company's long-term ambitions at a valuation of $1.77 trillion.
And that is the largest IPO in history by a wide margin. Shares popped, and within days the market value crossed $2 trillion. Elon Musk became the first trillionaire on paper, but soon after, the firm's shares started to reverse the rally. SpaceX shares fell for a third straight day on Monday.
The stock fell 16% on Monday, shedding more than $600 billion in market value. The decline follows a retreat of more than 8% on Wednesday and Thursday before the U.S. market closed on Friday for the Juneteenth holiday. Now, that fall comes after the company turned to bond markets last week to raise fresh capital, part of what's expected to be a massive borrowing spree. SpaceX IPO comes in the middle of intense AI bubble anxiety.
Bridgewater's Ray Dalio says his indicators show markets rising close to the same levels seen in 2000 and in 1929. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon has flagged a higher chance of serious stock pullback in the next 2 years. Goldman's own equity research head has openly questioned the AI trade.
AI-related firms drove roughly 80% of U.S. stock market gains in 2025. And the top handful of tech names now make up the same dangerous concentration of the S&P 500 seen at the dot-com peak. A crash on that scale today could wipe out about $33 trillion, more than US GDP. SpaceX itself isn't a pure AI bet. Starlink is profitable and growing, but its ex-AI arm is burning cash fast, with AI segment R&D costs up over 300% in 2025. Now, that's the AI story in miniature. Real infrastructure, real losses, and sky-high faith in SpaceX. No single IPO works that way, but it is the clearest test yet of whether investors will keep paying record prices for AI exposure, or whether this is where the exuberance finally runs out of road.
Indonesia is planning to integrate artificial intelligence into some of its most important government programs.
As part of a national strategy that officials believe could boost economic growth and even improve public services, a draft presidential regulation seen by Reuters outlines a roadmap for the country's use of AI over the next several years.
Now, the draft regulation sets out plans for government ministries and regional authorities to adopt AI between 2026 and 2029. Officials said the technology could be used in a range of priority programs, including Indonesia's $15 billion free meals scheme. The government believes wider use of AI could help lift the country's economy and increase its competitiveness in the region.
The draft states that AI should support economic growth through its development, deployment and use across government programs. It also identifies a goal of making Indonesia more competitive in AI, both regionally and globally. The regulation is currently awaiting approval from President Prabowo Subianto. Technology companies, including Meta, IBM, and Microsoft, helped contribute to the draft through consultations with government officials and experts. Microsoft last year announced plans to invest $1.7 billion in cloud and AI infrastructure in Indonesia.
However, analysts say the country still faces significant challenges. Experts point to a shortage of AI skills, limited access to advanced chips, and a lack of critical infrastructure. The plan highlights how governments across Southeast Asia are increasingly looking to AI as a tool for economic growth, public services, and national competitiveness.
It was a day of doubles at the World Cup, as Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland all scored braces in their team's victories at the Football World Cup on Monday.
Well, the day also saw the first storm delay in a World Cup game. Erling Haaland scored his second World Cup brace in a row, as Norway beat Senegal 3-2 on Monday to punch their ticket to the last 32. Norway substitute Marcus Holmgren Pedersen struck late in the first half in the New Jersey before Haaland doubled the lead shortly after the break. Ismail Assar cut the deficit for Senegal, only for Haaland to punish more slack defending. Norway have moved through to the knockout rounds with a game to spare. Manchester City forward Haaland now has 4 goals in 2 games at the tournament. Norway have lost only once in their last 18 matches and will take on France in a compelling battle for top spot in the group in Boston on Friday.
Now, France also eased to a 3-0 win over Iraq in a game delayed by 2 hours by a severe storm. Kylian Mbappe marked his 100th cap by scoring 2 more World Cup goals. Mbappe opened the scoring in the 14th minute and added another 9 minutes into the second half, with Ousmane Dembele getting the other goal for the tournament favourites in Philadelphia. Mbappe moved to 16 World Cup goals in his career, 2 behind Lionel Messi, who set a new record of 18 goals by netting twice for Argentina against Austria earlier.
The match had to be halted at halftime as a huge storm passed over the city, having started in dry conditions. Torrential rain began to fall late in the first half, and supporters were told as soon as the halftime whistle was blown to exit the open seat area and seek shelter in covered areas. The second half eventually got underway more than 2 hours behind schedule in what was the first match at this World Cup to be held up by bad weather.
Earlier, Lionel Messi became the World Cup's all-time leading goal scorer to fire Argentina into the last 32. Messi, who had tied Miroslav Klose's record of 16 goals with a brilliant hat-trick against Algeria last week, bagged the 17th and 18th goals of his World Cup career in a 2-0 win over Austria in Texas. A paradigm shift in Indian cinema's space scales has crowned a new king.
Well, Indian star Ranveer Singh has officially become the highest paid actor in India, dethroning industry veterans like Shah Rukh Khan, Rajnikant and Allu Arjun.
For his latest blockbuster duology, Dhurandhar, Singh walked away with a staggering 325 crore rupees, that is approximately $39 million. Unlike the traditional flat fee model, Singh's historic paycheck was the result of a highly lucrative profit-sharing agreement. Reports indicate that the actor chose to forego his standard upfront acting fee to back the ambitious action drama, which was originally shot as a single film but then released in 2 parts.
When the production budget escalated, Singh reportedly invested his own funds into the project, further increasing his stake. After factoring in distribution shares, theatrical bonuses, and non-theatrical revenues, which include highly lucrative digital, satellite, and music rights, Singh's total cut amounted to 325 crore rupees, which is nearly $39 million. And this marks the highest single project earnings for any Indian actor to date. The financial gamble paid off tremendously. The Dhurandhar franchise emerged as one of the most successful commercial ventures in Indian cinematic history. Globally, the franchise has grossed over 3,200 crore, and that's nearly $383 million. The lion's share of the overall profits went to the studios and Aditya Dhar.
Before this monumental payday, the title of India's highest paid star was fiercely dominated by South India-based stars and Bollywood's reigning Khans. Rajinikanth previously held the record with earnings exceeding rupees 250 crores, that's about 30 million, for his 2024 blockbuster Jailer.
Now, Shah Rukh Khan had earned around 200 crore rupees, and that's nearly $24 million each for his 2023 mega hits Pathaan and Jawan.
Allu Arjun took home upwards fee of rupees 200 crore, that's about 24 million, for their respective pan-India hits Pushpa 2 and The Rule.
Well, that's all on World DNA for today. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side. And before you go, just a reminder to our viewers in India that you can watch all 2026 FIFA World Cup matches on Z5. Tune in and catch all the action.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street